This video was recorded before it was announced Nintendo is pausing their pre-orders to then assess the tariff situation. If then they raise the price because of tariffs, that is awful and unfortunate and sucks, but it still has nothing to do with Nintendo. It has nothing to do with their company at large. It just has to do with they are responding in retaliation to these tariffs being put on these countries and manufacturers by raising prices for the consumers to help make up for that lost cost. Because guess what? Companies don't like losing money, and it sucks. But still, what this even proves further is that a lot of my points I'm about to make in this video are accurate, in which tariffs did not have anything to do with this price, because now they're saying they're pausing all of this to assess tariffs. So just enjoy the video. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. It's unfortunate, but it is just a part of life right now and business right now, and it doesn't change a lot of what I say here. If those prices do increase, that's another conversation, but please assume with the rest of this video that all of the prices stay the exact same, and please consider each and every one of my points before you comment. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Nintendo had their Nintendo Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd. During this 60-minute long presentation, Nintendo showed off every single feature about the Nintendo Switch 2, a whole lot about Mario Kart World, the new Donkey Kong game, a new Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment game, Kirby Air Riders, a whole bunch of third-party games, and more. Then, at the very end of the presentation, they reminded us once again that June 5th was the release date for this console and that Mario Kart World would be the launch title right alongside of it. And people were so hyped. They were so happy. This was one of the best presentations of all time. I still stand by that. Then we realized, at least I didn't at the time, but most people realized they had not revealed the price of anything. Of the upgrades for the Switch 2 editions for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They had not revealed the price of the console. They had not revealed the price of any of these games. And going into it, everyone assumed $400 console and $70 games. So those expectations were totally and completely shattered when Nintendo said $450 for the console, $500 bundle with Mario Kart. Mario Kart is $80 and it's buried within the website. It's just buried at the very bottom. You have to scroll all the way past all of these moving animated parts of this website to finally get to this massive poster in which the price is so small. And then for the console itself, we had to do digging. We didn't know what the price was. Literally afterwards, everyone was scrambling to find out when the price is, when are pre-orders dropping, all of these crucial pieces of information that Nintendo going into this presentation had made it seem like they were going to be paying so much attention to that. They were going to try to be transparent with us, and then they just weren't. It was cowardly, in my opinion. They decided not to do this because they knew there would be backlash. They didn't know how much, but they knew there would be. So instead of facing it head on and being clear up front, which is what they absolutely should have done, they decided instead, let's bury it in a bunch of promotional PR crap, put it on our website, and not worry about it. Oh, and pre-orders? You'll figure it out, right? No one even knew. That's another thing about the pre-orders. No one even knew that you had to go to their website to register for interest and have all of these prerequisites as to how you can even pre-order it through their direct website. Then later that day, no one knew about the other retailers about pre-orders until Best Buy and Walmart came out and said, this is what we're doing. April 9th is when you can come back and get your pre-orders. It was a hot mess. It was a complete and total and utter mess. And the problem here is not that the price itself is egregious, which yes, you can consider it to be that, and it could be, and yes. The problem here was the way they decided to explain this information. If they had just taken it head up and said, this is how much it is, and they just looked us in the eye and said it, I think I and a lot of other people would have taken the information a little bit better. Now, still people would be outraged, still people would call it trash and all that, but that was the main first problem, was the lack of communication and the way they so cowardly hid behind all of the information on their website and just refused to tell us up front. Because if you remember, in the Nintendo Switch presentation back in 2017 for the Switch 1, within the very first 5 minutes, they told us the release date and the price. So that is what happened leading up to everyone's outrage. And that's not even over exaggerating. That is the perfect word for what is happening right now. It is outrage. And I have never seen such backlash in my entire life to anything video game related such as this. Not even The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 2 was bad. This is really, really bad. We're talking like PlayStation 3 levels of awful. And then the big one that just made everyone blow up was Mario Kart World. $79.99. And that is what they said. That's it. It's buried within their website, $79.99. So it's not even $70. You are having to pay $80 for your brand new Mario Kart. And a lot of websites at the time, a lot of news outlets, everyone on Twitter was saying, oh, $80 digitally, $90 physically. And people ran with that. And people completely blew it out of proportion because $90 physically is a lie. It is a complete and total lie. In America, no matter which edition of the game you buy, digital or physical, Mario Kart World will be $80. Not $90, $80. Donkey Kong Bonanza will be $70, whether you buy digitally or physically. $70. There is no change for physical or digital. Whatever you want to get is the exact same price. Now, the big part of this that has gotten everyone so confused and has caused all of this misinformation to spread is Europe. Europe is having a $10 price difference from what it seems to be the equivalent for euros. Essentially, they are probably going to have a physical difference between physical and digital games, and that price will go up. But for the rest of the world, that is simply not true. And for the Europeans, I apologize. I am sorry. That is rough. And I am not a fan of that at all. But that is not happening anywhere else. And allow me to dispel some rumors here, because there are a lot of them, and a lot of them are false. Rumor number 1. Japan is cheaper. The Japan console of the Nintendo Switch 2 is cheaper, and it's all about tariffs, right? All of these tariffs that the United States and the current presidential administration is putting on these other countries is causing this price increase. These claims are false. How can I say that? Well, number 1, tariffs do not mean, if the United States put tariffs on other countries, it doesn't mean the price increases automatically. The United States is not putting something on another country that causes them to increase price. So Japan, Vietnam, China, whatever is happening with all of these tariffs, if the Nintendo Switch 2 does eventually get a price increase, it will not be because of tariffs, but as a result of tariffs. The tariffs themselves do not increase the price. The people making these things decide, you know what, if they're going to put tariffs on us, then we're going to raise the price to retaliate and make the people suffer by buying more. But none of that happens in the first place unless Nintendo decides to raise the price. And first of all, these tariffs have not even gone into effect yet, and we didn't even truly know what they would even look like until a day ago. So that is completely and totally false. It is not true that tariffs are causing these inflation here. The price is completely and totally just Nintendo saying, this is what we think our stuff is worth. This is what we think we can get away with. But it's not tariffs. And the whole thing about the Japan console being cheaper has nothing to do with that. It has to do with there are 2 models in Japan being sold. One model, Japanese only, region locked to Japan. Only Japanese-speaking people will buy that console for a cheaper price. It will be around $330, I believe, or $60 or something like that. It's around the mid-300s for Japanese people in equivalent to USD. Then they have a non-region locked console, which you can buy regularly for anyone across the world, and you can just play games however you want, no matter the language barrier. And that equivalent from yen to USD is about the same price as it is here in America. What they are doing over there has nothing to do with tariffs. It has everything to do with the yen being very, very weak right now and having been weak for a long time. And a lot of people across the world would take complete and total advantage of that weak yen by using their more powerful currency to buy cheaper products. So Nintendo is basically just giving 2 models to the Japanese people. 1, a cheaper model that will be just Japan only, and 2, a regular model for the people around the world who don't speak Japanese, just in case people try to exploit that model of yen to USD or what other currency you use. Again, it has nothing to do with tariffs, and I am not defending any political action here. I am not making a political statement in any way, shape, or form. I am just saying this is fact. This is the truth right here. So then, after all of this misinformation was going around, making all of these angry people even more outraged, the Nintendo Treehouse was live yesterday, April 3rd, and today, April 4th. And what were they doing? Oh, for about 5 to 9 hours combined from today and yesterday, they played a whole bunch of Switch 2 games, including Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, all these enhanced editions. They showed off a bunch of different stuff about the system and about the games. Now, what was happening this entire time in the chat? For the entire duration of both yesterday's Nintendo Treehouse Live and today's Treehouse Live, for every segment, for all of the 8 to 9 hours that they played games and showed off these features and did everything, the chat was spamming the entire time with no rest, drop the price, or talking about tariffs, or just being generally angry. The whole time, from beginning to end, people were spamming drop the price. Why all the outrage, right? Why is everyone so angry? Well, they didn't communicate to us. That's number one. They decided to hide all of this information within their websites, not be clear with us, and cause us to go search it out. And then because of that, it caused things to get way, way worse. Because they didn't come out, look us in the eye, and say $70 for Donkey Kong, $80 for Mario Kart, $450 for the console itself. Because they didn't do that, it led us to misunderstand and spread information like wildfire. From what I can see here, one of the very first news outlets that were reporting on this was Forbes, and their headline here is that the Nintendo Switch 2 flips the Switch on $80 and $90 games, in which they say that the European digital stuff is $80 and the physical is $90, which means that there could be another $10 bump on top of that in some or all regions. Now, maybe there were other outlets that reported on this first, and obviously on Twitter, this all spread like a complete and total wildfire that was blazing up everything in its path. And by then it was too late. It was too late. There are still people to this day who are going to say it's $90 games, and they're outraged by it, and rightly so, to be honest, because for the Europeans, that is outrageous. For people across the world who still think that their own country is getting that, that is also outrageous. But that's number one, because Nintendo could have dispelled all of these rumors and made the outrage that much less powerful by just telling us up front. Sure, the outrage still would have been there. People still would have been mad, but I think it would have been a lot more understandable if they had just said it to us straight up. And if I'm being totally honest, if they had looked us in the eye and said, we're sorry that this cost this much, but right now, inflation is crazy across the world. We are trying our best to make these prices competitive while also thinking of the consumer. And if they had literally just come out and said that simple phrase, I think I would have totally and completely been on their side, and people wouldn't have been nearly as outraged as they are right now. Now, it's time for me to put this into perspective and to question whether or not the outrage is worth it. Is all outrage actually deserved? Does Nintendo deserve all this outrage? And is it actually viable? Does it make sense that everyone is this mad? Now, before I give my opinion here, make sure you wait until after I have completely said all my thoughts to comment. But the answer is no. This outrage is absolutely not deserved. It is not viable at all, in my opinion, and that is a complete and total mindset shift from what I had the other day, in which I uploaded a video talking about how outraged I was about these prices. But funnily enough, after I watched a lot of these Treehouse presentations, after I reconsidered all of the information, after I looked deeper and deeper, the more I started to not only understand, but to get it, to defend them, to truly and totally believe that they're actually giving us a good deal on some of this stuff. Let's start with the actual console itself. And remember, let's try to keep things civil here. I know people are going to be angry at me for even saying that, but let's try to keep it civil. The console itself, from the actual Nintendo presentation and what they have told us, we know 120 frames per second, 4K resolution, 120 hertz, all of that stuff, 4K. It's amazing. It is amazing. It is purely and by all standards the best Nintendo console ever, and really rivals every other console on the market, including the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Both those consoles are being rivaled here, and it shows. Now, what Nintendo also decided not to tell us, that we had to find out later in some other article in which people have been so mad at me for saying, but it's true. Nvidia has come out, the company that has helped develop this console, that has put a lot of their technology in this console, and they have confirmed that the Switch 2 not only supports all of this amazing top-of-the-market stuff, 120 FPS, 4K, but it also has DLSS and ray tracing in it. Ray tracing. I literally responded to a comment not that long ago saying ray tracing was impossible. It wasn't happening, that I would bet anything that it wasn't happening. It is happening. It is true. The Switch 2 has all of this top-of-the-market technology and is only $450. And you might say, only? What do you mean? Well, if you consider the idea of inflation, as well as this being literally 5 to 7 times stronger than the Nintendo Switch, for it to only be $150 more is a steal in my opinion. In fact, the Mario Kart World bundle being $500, giving us a $30 discount on Mario Kart World, and then also having this extremely powerful console with that game day one is absolutely a deal. Are you kidding me? On top of all of that, on top of just the console itself being an absolute powerhouse, the console being top of the market, portable by the way, with HDR, and it looks phenomenal and is making all of these Switch 1 games even better with those upgrades. And not only that, they're giving us free upgrades as well. Mario Odyssey, 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Link's Awakening, Echoes of Wisdom, both Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, a bunch of other games getting paid editions as well, but they're upgrading these games for free. Now, okay, I think I've defended the console well enough, and I think it actually makes perfect sense, and I don't think I've seen hardly a lot of people get mad at it. At first, people were like, oh, the console's fine, it's just the games that are overpriced, but as the outrage went on, people were trying to say that the console was also overpriced, that Nintendo was just a bunch of greedy dirtbags with their console, that everything is overpriced, it's ridiculous. Let's calm down for a second. The console itself is totally and completely reasonably priced, and I will stand behind that. Now let's talk about the games, right? Because the free upgrades are amazing. The Switch 2 Edition upgrades, we still do not know what those prices are, and that is even worse for Nintendo, because if it ends up being $15 for some of these upgrades instead of just like 10 or $5, that's going to make it way more obnoxious. More people are going to be upset. More people are going to call them greedy dirtbags, which yes, they are a company. And guess what, guys? Their idea of fun isn't us having fun, it's them making money. And that sucks. But at the same time, the developers of these games don't care. They're there to make games that we love, and they truly do care about us. But the corporate side of Nintendo and the legal side of Nintendo is a completely different story, and yes, every company wants to make money, otherwise they can't make a profit, and they can't stay alive as a company. I am not at all defending $80 games here, let me get to that in a moment, but I am just saying, yes, they're a company and they have to make money, and that's their goal. That's the whole reason they exist, is because they're trying to make money. But the developers are different, and that is where I'm coming from here. I think the developers really do care about us, and they want us to have a good time. So then we get to the Switch 2 Edition games. We don't know. We still don't know. But with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, we at least know that Expansion Pass NSO subscribers will get those for free. And that's amazing. That's a great deal as well. They've added so much viability to that Nintendo Switch Online subscription service. I mean, it is so valuable now. And I cannot help but also agree with $70 games such as Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's this industry standard. And for us to have these powerhouse games, like with this console being so powerful, right? For these games to be $70 is no problem for me. That's just what we all expected to begin with, isn't it? Like, I'm pretty sure everyone thought that that's what was going to happen. So then we come to the elephant in the room, the big problem here that is made even worse with Mario Kart World being $80. On the Nintendo Switch, Tears of the Kingdom ran at a horrible 30 FPS, and it was stuttery, and the resolution would dip a lot with all of these different creations, and it was a technical marvel, and it was worth $70. And a lot of people stand by that, and I still stand by that. It was completely and totally worth every penny on the Switch. Now on the Switch 2, Tears of the Kingdom will be 4K. 4K, 60 FPS, minimum. That is what you are going to get with your Nintendo Switch 2. That is what Switch 2 games built from the ground up can be expected to have. So that is why Tears of the Kingdom is $80 now for the Switch 2 edition. It was $70 on the Switch, so then it's basically $10 extra for that upgrade. You've got games like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, in which they add more money to it. You have to pay $20 extra for not only the upgrade of graphics, but the brand new content. It's $20 basically. So imagine $10 for the graphics, $10 for the DLC. Okay, that sucks. Like, I still am not a fan of 80, but at least I can find the logic there. And that was what my outrage was before, right? I just couldn't see the consistency, and now I'm starting to see it a little bit better. Tears of the Kingdom was $70. It didn't add a whole lot of content. They just really upped the graphics, so it's $80 now. Breath of the Wild was $60. Its Switch 2 edition is now $70, $10 for the graphics. Then you've got Kirby, $10 for the graphics, $10 for the extra content, $80. Then we have Mario Party Jamboree, $10 for the graphics, $70, $10 more for the extra content, $80. That is where I understand it. It's frustrating, and I don't think people will buy it, and I think it's a bad idea, but I understand it. It's logical. Here is where I still struggle. Mario Kart World, $80, Donkey Kong Bonanza, $70. What's the difference? Why? I understand Mario Kart World is massive. There are over 84 characters confirmed already for Mario Kart World. This thing is huge. It's pushing everything to its limits. It's amazing. It's the best Mario Kart ever, and I never thought that it would surpass 8 Deluxe, but they did. It surpassed it, and it's already looking phenomenal, and that's before the Direct that's coming in a couple weeks to explain even more about why this game is $80. But still, what's the difference between that and Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a brand new 3D Donkey Kong? People have been clamoring for that for years, and it's so very clearly done by the Mario Odyssey team. This game looks phenomenal, and every single part of that landscape, you can tear it up. You can dig up, you can grab any part of the wall and use it as a melee attack. You can use all of these different things, and that must have taken so much time and money development-wise. So why is that $70? That is where I don't understand. And I'm glad it's not $80 as well, because the more I look at Mario Kart World, to be honest, the more I understand its $80 price tag, the more I start to even feel it might be worth $80. But Donkey Kong is only $70. It's that miscommunication where I start to not understand, start to not want to go to bat for them, because on a surface level, I can completely and totally understand if you were to say, these games are better than ever, this is the best Nintendo has ever been, $80. And whoa, would that be a shock? And no, would I not like it because it's a $20 increase, but still, I could understand if that was where they went. But now it's 70 to 80, right? And they're deciding from here on out, I guess. Some games are going to be 80, some are going to be 70, and you got to suck it up, Buttercup, and I guess we will, right? A lot of people are still going to buy it. Now, I've talked all day, and I can still talk more, but I just want to give one last point here, and my point here is, if they had avoided all of this, how could that have been done? I think they could have avoided literally 95% of this outrage completely, and this is how they could have done it. If they had literally just said to us, sorry guys, the Switch 2 is $450, the Mario Kart bundle is $500, Mario Kart is $80, Donkey Kong is $70. I think the vast majority of people would not have been that upset. And if you want to 100% dispel all of the complaints, if Mario Kart wasn't $80 to begin with, if none of these were $80, if it was just $70, if they had stuck with $450, then the $500 bundle, and then made the games $70 across the board, I don't think anyone would have been that mad. It's really simple here. It's simple stuff that has made all of this outrage come to fruition. And that makes me think that not only are people mad over things they probably shouldn't be, but that it's all been blown out of proportion. Because the more I think about it, the more I'm fine with most of this. I'm fine with the console price. I'm fine with Donkey Kong's price. I'm fine with the Switch 2 edition prices because I can see the logical consistency there. But what I'm not fine with is random $80 prices for Mario Kart World, and that is where that miscommunication caused an outrage within me as well. So thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Please let me know down in the comments what you think about all this. This is a crazy topic, and I have not had such an opinion shift in such a long time because I really was on your side the other day. If you are still outraged by this, I was so upset and confused and all the hype was gone. But the more I watched, the more I saw games like Metroid Prime 4 Beyond looking literally better than any Nintendo game ever, was the moment I realized, oh man, it's kind of worth it, isn't it? It's kind of worth it, isn't it? Because this is just better than we've ever had before. My parents have always had a saying, my dad specifically, he'll say, you pay for what you get, which means if you go out and you buy a crap car for literally like $1,000 instead of saving up a little bit more and buying a better car for $5,000 or $10,000, that's on you if it breaks down. You pay for what you get. If you go to McDonald's, you're going to get something cheap. It's not going to be that great of food. You pay for what you get. This is what we're paying for, and this is what we're getting. $450 console, and we're getting the best Nintendo hardware we've ever had, ever, by a mile. Not even close. No console has ever come close to this in terms of Nintendo, and they're rivaling all of these other top-of-the-market consoles. We pay for what we get, and this is what we're getting. We're getting the best Nintendo has ever had by far. And for people to be upset by that is perfectly understandable, because it is a shock when we discover ourselves something it feels like they are hiding from us, which they should never have hid in the first place. The hiding is what caused it. The $80 is what caused it. But if you really think about it, if they had just said it up front, a lot of people wouldn't be upset, because $70 is the traditional standard now for these types of games. For the games to be this good, $70 is fine. $450 for the console is great. The bundle for $500 is an even better deal. So then for the $80 price point and then the $90 Misinformation, it just caused outrage that never should have even happened. So please let me know down in the comments what you think about all this. I'm sure you have already done so if you've not even made it to this point, or if you did make it to this point. Thank you for making it to this point. Make sure you like and subscribe today's video to help support the channel. Click the notification bell to know exactly when I upload videos just like this one, and join my membership program to support the channel further and get early access to videos, Discord servers, badges next to your name, etc. Click on the left side of the screen to see my hype about all of these Zelda stuff, and click on the right to see me gush about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, because it is the best looking Switch game, best looking Nintendo game of all time. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ray. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day.